Welcome back for part two with the Rotherham United skipper. He's been injured, well, he was injured last weekend, but he's fit again for this weekend. Richard Wood, formerly of Sheffield Wednesday, about whom we'll have plenty to talk about this half. Steve Basford, the chairman of Hallam FC, and George Elek here from Oddschecker, and he's been quoting odds for the two Sheffields, promotion odds, relegation odds even. Locally, we've not actually debated relegation at all. The word has not appeared in my column once, or in my colleagues' columns, or on the radio or anything, relegation. And you introduced that subject this evening, George.
I arrived in Sheffield and said the word that's forbidden, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it hasn't actually been on the agenda. There was a spell, I think, last season, mid-season, where Sheffield Wednesday fans were kind of fearing the worst. There was a slide on. Jos Lukai came in, kind of steadied the ship. And now there's almost a split camp again, and it almost goes from week to week as to whether Wednesdayites are confident in this manager or whether they're not. You know, you go back a week and they'd lost 1 of 9, I think it was. 2 defeats in a week changes everybody's perspective, and it's crazy almost, isn't it, Richard? You observe this.
Yeah, I do observe it, but we get it at our club as well. That's what happens. That's fans' opinions. You win, everybody's happy. You could play terrible, win 1-0, but nobody remembers the performance. Oh, we played brilliant today. We won 1-0, and that's it. But then, as soon as you lose, everything's negative. It's a difficult job. It always is. It's a massive club, Wednesday. High expectations.
Which you haven't got in the Championship anyway. Luckily, you had them last season, didn't you? But not this.
Yeah, but and that's what it is. Wednesday, they've got to a couple of playoff finals over the last few years as well. Massive expectation, massive fan base, difficult job. So you lose a few, you're under pressure. Is
it kind of, and it's one of those horrible, kind of boring words, but and which fans don't like to hear, but is it really a transitional season at Hillsborough between the 2 attempts under Carlos Carvalhal, and now, you know, there were injuries and there's been an issue over financial fair play and funding for the team because of that, and a lot of youngsters have come in that you can't expect to be consistent.
No, you can't expect consistency, but it's good to see young lads coming through. Yeah. I'm probably the last one that came through, me, Beavers, Tommy Spur, and we're talking, what we're talking?
A long time.
10 years ago?
Nearly 10 years ago, yeah.
Something like that. So it's nice to see now, obviously, the chairman came in, injection of money, a lot of money being spent, but this transitional period that you're talking about, it's good to see the young players getting a chance, and I think fans always give them more time, and you want to try and encourage that, and I think it's good to see.
In your position particularly, Jordan Thornley, I know he's very highly rated by the manager, Jos Lukai. He really trusts him. And he can play, and like 1 or 2 of the others as well, he can play, including Matt Penny, can play in 1 or 2 positions, not just the one.
Yeah,
what do you think of those?
Well, it's good. It's good that they can play in a few positions. It's good that the manager trusts them. And it shouldn't matter about your age, not for me anyway. I'm old now, and it shouldn't matter that I am old. And it shouldn't matter that if you're really young, you can be trusted, and it's just nice to see that happening at the club. I think it's been a long time coming.
You think it's the right move for the club going forward?
I do, yeah. You need a blend of everything. You always need young lads coming through.
And do you think it's right as well that there's no sign of any personal pressure building from the owner on the manager? Do you think that's the right thing?
I believe it's the right thing. I mean, you've got to give a manager time. It's pointless hiring somebody to then just get rid of them just because a few results don't go your way. But that seems to be the trend in football. You see it happening all the time, and well, it's chairman and affordability. If you're aiming to get somewhere, you spend the money to get there. You need results, and that's the unfortunate thing in football now.
He's come in at that bridging time, a totally different scenario to the one that Carlos Carvalhal had. You know, when they were throwing money at it, and I'm sure the chairman would again do that if he could. But you know, these financial
fair play
are in.
Yeah,
so
it's just nice to see that. I'm hoping that he does get time.
Yeah.
You've just got to trust. If you give somebody a job, trust them to do it and give them long enough to try and succeed at it. And
you would think that the very fact that he's put so much faith in young players ought to give him that time as well.
Yeah,
he's looking. You know, a manager looking for his own self-preservation probably wouldn't do that. But he's looking longer down the line, isn't he?
That's it. It's a longer term view, and that's what hopefully the club are looking at, a long term plan. of where they want to get to and what they want to achieve. And at the moment, playing the young lads who are doing well in difficult circumstances, in front of a massive fan base that expects probably promotion.
Well, it could still happen because it's so tight in that championship. Yeah. There's still only a few points outside the top 6. Sheffield Wednesday are at Birmingham City this weekend. It's going to be a tough game because Birmingham doing really well now under Gary Monk. Sheffield United against Wigan. I'll mention more about the Blades in a moment. A fantastic performance the other night. Unfortunately, not rewarded with the result it really should have been. And Rotherham at Preston this weekend. Well, I know you're fully fit now, and Preston are very much improving their form. Had a win on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Wednesday. We've got an extra day of recovery on them, which is a positive, but it'll be a difficult game. Obviously away from home for us as well. Hopefully we can build on the point the other night, but with the win that they got the other night, their confidence will be high, and it'll be an interesting game, a tight game as they all are.
Hallam this weekend, just before I come to George?
We're away at Grimsby Borough, which is currently the top of the league, so that's a real clash, but we've done very well against the top sides recently, so beaten one and drawn against the other top 3, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll go and do something. Yeah.
Keep that run going. It'd be nice to see you go up and actually have proper derbies against the other lot, Sheffield FC. Who's
we'll have
chairman.
To go up again after that, but you never know.
2 promotions back to back. Yeah. It was nice to see Richard Timms down at that exhibition today as well. I mentioned your charity game on Sunday as well. Just when I come back to you.
Thank you.
George. So then, how did the betting companies come to these conclusions then? About fancying Sheffield United so much more than Sheffield Wednesday this season. They're probably right. But
yeah, I mean, looking at those 2 cases specifically, with Sheffield Wednesday, the trends were there and the kind of the numbers behind the performances, if that makes sense. I know you've had James on here before, Blades Analytic, who looks at kind of the number side of things. And with Sheffield Wednesday, initially it was a reliance on Barry Bannon scoring long-range efforts. It's now become Adam Reach, whereas realistically it's not sustainable to continue to win games of football scoring 25-yard goals. And if you look at the numbers behind it, you'll see that they're outshot in most games. The chances they're creating aren't as good as the opposition consistently, which suggests that they were basically running hot. So bookies will look at the numbers. 10 years ago they'd have just looked at the table, looked at results and seen how good a team is. Whereas now, because of the new wave of analytics within gambling, they'll look at the numbers behind it and they will see that Sheffield Wednesday, despite winning games, aren't necessarily playing to that ability. And then you have other factors such as Forestieri being injured, for example, and bits and bobs which comes into it. And then you have the weight of money. So if all these very smart bettors out there will be using these numbers and they'll see the trends that Sheffield Wednesday are outperforming, and they will then put money on it, which will bring the price in even further. So
it's become very scientific, isn't it?
It's a very complicated process.
I think James refers to it as metrics. Is that the word?
Exactly, yeah. So there are plenty of different metrics. I know that some footballers like them and some don't. I don't know what
where do you stand on this? The old school, new school. Where is Richard Wood on that?
I'm the new school.
He's the new school, right? Yeah, no, don't be afraid. I mean,
that's how it is for me. That's what I grew up with. I'm not that old.
I'm being dragged from old school into new school.
A lot of
slowly. I'm still looking for the Tic Tac man. So.
Where is he? Do you do any of that?
No, but I think a lot of people get put off by some of the names. I mean, I co-host an EFL podcast called Not the Top 20, and we talk about it a lot. Where if you're talking about XG and chance quality, all you're saying, it's the same as sitting in the stand and saying he should have buried it. It's exactly the same thing. You're just putting a number on the chance. So it only makes sense that if a team like Sheffield Wednesday are consistently giving up better chances than the opposition, but winning, it's probably not going to last. And you can only rely on Adam Reach to score 25-yard wonder goals. He's not going to do it every week. He's not Matt Le Tissier, sadly, as far as we know.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's fascinating listening to this, and you'll take this and hopefully into a coaching or management career. He's covered himself every which way because he's qualified as a journalist as well, or he's done the journalism course, haven't you?
I'm trying my best to cover all bases. Really.
If you get really desperate, you can concentrate on the journalism.
I will do. Yeah.
That's the lowest paid of the lot, by the way.
Certainly get your coaching badges.
Your charity Chris Waddle game. It's an annual event.
We have two charity games a year, Alan. That we've got pretty slick at running now. We kind of it all runs very smoothly. Chris Waddle's superb. Brings his 11 or more people together for us twice a year or twice a season. So this Sunday we're trying to raise money for St Luke's. So the whole St Luke's team will be there, and they'll have some players in. They've sort of chucked some money into playing in Chris's 11 or against Chris's 11. And there've been wonderful occasions over the last few years. We've raised lots and lots of money. £5,000 for Bluebell Woods, bit like the back end of the season. So we're really looking forward to it. And anybody, please come along and support it.
What time is it on Sunday?
So it's going to be a 2 o'clock kick-off. But the doors will be open from 12, and it'll be a wonderful day. And it's what a great cause. So,
is Chris Wilder playing on this occasion?
I'm not sure if Chris is. I'm not sure if he's away or not, but he certainly has played in the last few. And Chris is extremely supportive of the club. He's absolutely brilliant. Comes from our background, of course. He's non-league and Sunday manager and all the rest of it. And I think managed some of our guys in the past. So Chris is really, really good. And when we had the pre-season friendly. Not this year, the year before. I think we had 7 of the team that played on the following Saturday. So that's not bad.
Thoughts on Sheffield United's guys? I saw the game. Obviously, we all watched it on TV at Derby. Great game of football, even though the Blades manager didn't appreciate that because of the result. And he always says what he thinks at the time, without fail. But the other night, crikey, the 1-1 draw. With a Stoke City side packed with quality and expensive players that should be actually higher up the league, as well as brilliant as Sheffield United were against Aston Villa, particularly in the first half. To me, that was the best 90 minutes that they've produced that I've seen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Full on, 90 minutes.
Yeah, brilliant.
Terrific.
Which is obviously why Chris was so upset at the end. I mean,
well,
and just shows it again, you know, going back to what George says about these finite little details. I mean, I think somebody moved out the wall.
Yeah.
Does that happen? I think they took somebody out the wall.
It was quite smart thinking from Joe Allen as well. An expensive player, right?
Yeah.
They were kind of one short in the wall. And I think that we're caught between, is he going to knock it across for Crouch and come on a substitute, or is it a shot at goal? And
but isn't that the wonderful thing about the game? I mean, like the game that you came to, we were 2-0 down, and our goalkeeper made the most incredible save I've seen in double save. And he's in his 40s, by the way, 43. So you got plenty of time left. But it was incredible. He managed to put it over the top, 3-0. Game's gone. But he saves it, and then that deflates the other side a little bit. And there are tiny little things, aren't they, that change games. Yeah,
critical moments. And certainly, I thought Rotherham fully deserved to beat Bolton last Saturday. I was there for Sky, and just caught out right at the end when you actually had cramp, didn't you, at that stage of the game, and you were deservedly leading the game, and just a long ball on the counter attack, wasn't it?
Yeah, fine margins, like you say.
Yeah,
that's what football's all about, and. So disappointing when we should have been comfortably in front. We didn't take his chances. Still at 1-0, they're always in with a chance, and they got one chance and scored.
A couple of players I'd like to mention to you, a couple of teammates, in a moment. After we just progressed that conversation we had in part 1 about the fact that Paul Warne, the manager, has encouraged or got each player to talk about his personal life, his circumstances in front of the rest of the group.
Yep.
Has that worked in terms of integrating and bonding, do you feel?
Yeah, definitely. We've all got a strong bond. We all know about each other's, what motivates each player. And obviously after we've had the meetings, they dragged on for a while. We had 2 or 3 players every day doing the speeches, because some lasted 5 minutes, some lasted 30 seconds. So it depended on the individual how long they wanted to speak. But after that, obviously you've watched it, you get emotional watching it and listening to the player. So inevitably after, in the dressing room, you go and speak to that person, and there's one player that nobody knew anything about, really, and he's come out with this unbelievable story. I won't go into detail what he said, but it touched everybody, and not one player knew about it before that point, and now everybody just, not every day, but everybody mentions it and speaks to him about it, and it gets mentioned all the time, which is nice, rather than all this bravado in the dressing room, lads just all straight-faced, hiding everything that they've got at home. It was just nice for everybody to come out and show also a side that's not been seen before.
And also at a time when mental health is such a topic and is so important in everybody's life, surely a step in the right direction to be able to, presumably players are sharing sad things in their lives, you know, maybe bereavements or whatever circumstances. Yeah. You know, for the first time in a dressing room that you've ever seen that happen.
Yeah, everybody's quite well. You had to be open about it. You didn't have to. So you could have chose whatever you wanted. Something you could have chose a different family member to talk about. There might have been some friends. There's been a few different scenarios. There's things like older parents and grandparents having dementia, and people speaking about that and how it affected them. And it was just nice to hear that, and it was nice for them to open up. And I think everybody got a sense of relief from it. If you are struggling with mental health, or that is an issue in the back of your mind, and you are worried about that family member or whatever, it was probably nice to get it off the chest and speak quite openly about it. It was nice to...
Yeah. I've never heard of anything like that before, and I've been reporting football for 40 odd years and never heard of a technique like that. Have you, Steve?
Well, the ethos, thank goodness, is changing massively, and Richard's come through a different era to this now, and the ethos is changing, and like I say, thank goodness. I mean, after I'd done the UEFA B licence, I took a sports psychology diploma, which took 2 years, and that just completely changed the way I coached football. Yeah. I mean, the technical side of it with the B licence is pretty phenomenal, but I worked with a guy called Roger Spry. Do you remember Roger? There was at Hillsborough, so he worked with the Portuguese national side. He was Danny Wilson's right-hand man. Right. So the final thing that I did, the dissertation, was to do body language, and actually Danny was brilliant, let me work down there, wanted to see afterwards, and we had this conversation about what a different player he was to how he managed and why that was, and Roger would help out with that. And you know, the belief system that players have, one of the first things that you look at when you're doing the psychological profiles, which I did quite a lot of, you would ask a player to tell you what your beliefs are about you, or how you play, what your strengths and all the rest of it, and then ask the coach. And you would be utterly amazed how different they were. I mean, I had one young lad at Sheffield United who said, you know, well, I would just wish I could cross the ball better. I don't quite whip it in right. I'm going to work on that. Take the coach's one. What are his strengths? Brilliant cross of the ball.
Well, there you go.
And that's the coach and the player. Yeah. And then he sort of went out, this is where we work from.
You've worked at Sheffield University and coaching the team.
Yeah, coached still at university now, and I mean, that's all about mental health, you know. Right. I mean, the lads are there, our son's at university, and it is a huge thing that they get some pressure released. They are there to study. That's what they're all about, getting the journalism degrees like Richard's got. Yeah. So when they come and play football with us, it should be good. Like, listen, we want to win. There's, you know, and the rivalry between ourselves and Hallam Uni is great. It's wonderful, that. But it is about the well-being, and thank goodness, what a change. Great.
Yeah, indeed. Paul Warne, the manager, there are 2 or 3 individuals that I'd like to come to with Richard. From observing him from an interviewer's point of view, I think I see a manager maturing, a manager who wore his heart on his sleeve at all times, cried publicly early on. Now, that Bolton game, for instance, you know, I'm frustrated for him, but he seemed to handle it in a very calm manner.
He's definitely growing into it. He still says he don't like being a manager, but I think he loves it now. He's got a grasp for it. He deals with the players brilliantly. He's very good in the media, very witty. Quite refreshing for me when I listen to the clips and what he does. Always brings a smile to my face. He's always got a little joke in there, and it just makes a change from the norm of managers, what you see and how they act in the press, and just very plain and cliched. Whereas the gaffer's a bit off the cuff and just says what he feels.
Everybody loves talking to him. He's very refreshing and, as you say, very entertaining, but also illuminating in some of the work that he's doing there. A fellow that a younger player that you partner, Shemi Ajayi, every time I see Rotherham and he's playing, I mean, again, he can be versatile, but he catches the eye.
He does.
So what do you think as a partner?
Great player. He's going to go a long way. Hopefully we can keep hold of him. But if he keeps playing like he's doing, then he could go to whichever team he wants to. He's got all the attributes. Quick, strong, tall, athletic. He's just got everything. Great defender. He can't beat him 1v1. And I quite enjoy partnering him. It's good, it's nice. He does your work. He mops up behind me. Go on, chase after that, Shem. Tidy it up for me. And he does. We get on great together. Obviously, I'm the older head. I I do talk a lot to him and help him through the game, but with the way he's playing, he doesn't need my help. He's bossing it at the moment. He's doing really well, and credit to him. He's just got a Nigerian national team, and he's travelling away with them. His first away trip was in Seychelles, which was nice. That's a holiday for him.
We'd all say yes to that, wouldn't we?
But I hope he just keeps on going from strength to strength, confidence-wise. I think he's getting it and realising, and it's a great age as well. Great age to develop his career.
As is Michael Smith, another one that catches the eye. You know, people make a mistake if they think, no, he's just a bit of a handful and a big guy up front, because, you know, when I see him, he's got a bit of a turn of pace. He's got a hell of a shot on him from distance, and looks a good footballer.
He's got everything for an old-fashioned number 9. That's what the gaffer likes to. We've got him and Jamie Proctor, old-fashioned number 9s, but they also work hard, just like the gaffer. That's what he wants his strikers to be like him. Work hard, never stop running, and he's not slow for a big man. He's not slow, and he's playing unbelievable at the moment. He's on fire. He just needs goals. Just needs goals to top it off. And again, if he starts scoring, we'd probably struggle to hold on to him, because he's been unplayable in the last couple of games, and it just shows what can happen. We bought him last January in the window from Bury, and he wasn't even in Bury team. Wasn't even playing every week. He was in reserves there. But that just shows you what confidence can do. Right manager, right club that suits you. Gaffer fills him with confidence all the time, and look what he's doing. He's tearing it up.
I saw him previously at Portsmouth. I thought he looked very ordinary and a bit raw, you know, but he's really come on tremendously. You know, that shot that hit the post last Saturday. But again, at Middlesbrough, I believe he was outstanding.
One similar one. He bullied their 2 centre-halves, Flint and Ayala, were probably best partnership in the league, really strongest. But he was outstanding against him, and they were going mad every second, complaining against him, complaining to the ref. But he was outstanding. He just needed a goal. And he bent one to top corner, and he's tipped it over at bar. But just he's doing really well, and just need him to keep going. Yeah.
So George Elek, without your betting hat on, has Richard convinced you that Rotherham are staying in the Championship?
Yeah. I was impressed with them last season in League One, and it seems like, along with Wigan and Blackburn, it may have been a good relegation, because the manager's obviously brought in his own players. I mean, that signing of Smith replacing Moore was just unbelievable find, given what he was doing before. And they played great. You know, the last 6 months of last season, a lot of people said that Shrewsbury were unlucky not to go up last season, but for the last 6 months of the season, you were the 3rd best team at least in the league, and it's great to see Rotherham doing well this season. You know,
and have we persuaded you that Sheffield United are going to get promotion?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a massive Sheffield United fan. The metrics I was talking about have them very, very high indeed. I think the signings they made in the summer, Norwood, it's just been incredible players. You wouldn't necessarily have thought Egan as well, and McGoldrick on a free. So Chris Wilder's doing an unbelievable job, and
tremendous value.
Premier League manager soon.
He's got a great coach there as well, by the way. Alan.
Sorry?
He's got a great coach there.
Alan Neil, and also Matt Prestridge, a member of that team as well, who's been on this show. And surely, just reassure with 20 seconds left, Sheffield Wednesday fans, that those relegation odds are just cosmetic and to be ignored.
Well, I'm sure if you disagree, you can always back them to stay up, I think. It's going to be pretty short still. But just worth noting that the trending is going.
There are good odds for putting on for them to win promotion.
50 to 1 to win promotion, 250 to 1 to win the league.
Right, okay. With that, George Elek from Oddschecker, thanks very much indeed. Steve Basford, Hallam FC, and Richard Wood again. Thank you for watching YouTube later. See you next week. Bye-bye.